Hello, guys. Let's discuss today's set of questions. And thanks for the positive feedback on the methods to learn and remember. I have one more method that I would want you to write or remember. At least remember this. Whenever you read something and you read something difficult to understand, difficult to remember, I suggest you read it aloud. Reading aloud, जोर से पढ़ने से, you tend to remember better. It's a technique that most people discount. Most people don't care about this thing. Most people would say, it's embarrassing to read aloud. I would feel pretty bad, or what would people think of me? See, people don't matter. Trust me, people never matter. All that matters is your future, your today and your tomorrow. That matters. What will the neighbor think? How does it matter to you? In fact, the neighbor doesn't have time to think about you. Yeah. And if they have time to think about you, it means they are idle and they are not kinds of people you should worry about. What you should rather be doing is, whenever you read like I wrote here, methods to learn. Read aloud. Okay. Read aloud. Read aloud. When you do this, what happens is you tend to you tell yourself that look, this is what this is what it is. Now, when you say this is what it is, you tend to remember better because the mind registers better when hear something loud. It's like what we did in school. You remember that when we were little kids, and the teacher would ask us to repeat after her. 2 times 2, 2 times 2, 2 times 2. Before we would read the entire RHS side, we should insist that we first complete the LHS, the left hand side. So 2 times 2, 2 times 2, repeat. A, apple, A for apple. When she would say, you should ask us to repeat Z, Z, Z. Now we say Z, but if you say this in America, it would be Z. But we are in India, so you should look at simple ways of learning. So when you try to read aloud, newspaper, जोर से पढ़िए आप, read aloud, you will remember much better. Trust me. It is difficult to remember everything. Let me tell you. Like I'll tell you what. Before I would sit for a class, usually I would get a glass, an empty glass with a bottle here, and I would. In the middle of my class, I would take sips of water. Today, I forgot the glass. I have a bottle here, but I forgot the glass. Now, how can I drink water? It would be pretty difficult. I mean, it's a little not embarrassing. I would say it's slightly out of out of line to drink directly from the bottle here. So I would rather not drink. If I do feel thirsty, I would drink. What would you think? Well, it does matter because you're my student, but it does not matter if I think of you as a stranger. You're my student, so I would think a little about this. Does it violate? Does it look good, especially given that it's a class? So, while these things are small, more importantly, and this is not going to impact my future, your future, what you learn today is going to impact your future. So, to repeat what we learned in the previous session: 1, understand data points. What exactly is the data about? 2, link unknown things or new info to something you already know. 3, write it down on a small sheet of paper. Put it on a door or a fridge door or a normal door at home, room door, maybe bathroom door, yeah. And sometimes use it as a screensaver, yeah, on the phone. And practice, and I wrote here, practice reading it at least 3 times a day. So when you read 3 times a day, you tend to remember much better. Give yourself a good chance at learning. Trust me, life would be yo, as you all say, yo. Yeah? And yeah, whenever you read something new, read aloud. Trust me, it would work wonders for you. It does for me. Okay, it did and it does. It still does. So try to remember small things of life. Things will get better, my friends. Over a long period of time, things will get better. Okay? Today's first question, today's smaller set of questions actually. Manoj Soni has recently been appointed the chairperson, the answers there, UPSC chairperson. He succeeds Pradeep Joshi. Pradeep Joshi is the outgoing chairperson of the Union Public Service Commission. I usually don't say chairman, I say chairperson, not because of this political correctness. It's sounds good. There could be a woman there, you know. It's open to all genders. So UPSC. Now, what do we know about the Union Public Service Commission, UPSC? So UPSC, let's write this. Articles 315 to 323, Part 14. Instead of writing this, you can write 14, no harm. Part 14. So listed under Articles 315 to 323 and in Part 14 of the Constitution of India. So what does the UPSC do? Next point. Now all of you are familiar with UPSC, but it's good to put it down in writing, so that when next time someone would ask you what does this do, you'll be that much more comfortable in sharing your understanding, your knowledge of what UPSC does. So please write. Responsible for appointments to TO2 and examinations to all Group A, capital A, Group A posts, POSTS, posts of the Union Government, comma. See, when you say Union Government, it's a Union Government establishment, okay? Establishment, comma, including all public sector units and central autonomous institutes, Okay, there we go. This should be fine enough, yeah. And you know, it was established, I think, in 1929 sometime, 1920s. It was in those days called the Federal Service Commission. It's after India became independent of British rule, it became the Union Public Service Commission. Now, let's look at the choices. Chairman of the National Commission for Scheduled Tribes. Earlier, there was only one commission for both scheduled tribes and scheduled castes. Now, they are separate organizations. So, National Commission for Scheduled Tribes, Harsh Chauhan is the chairperson. Harsh Chauhan. I'll just give you one more thing. Under Article 338A, listed under Article 338A. So setting it up, it's setting up, it's set up, organization set up. Okay. So all the powers, everything are listed in Article 338A. Now, if you look at this particular choice, last choice here, National Commission for Scheduled Castes, the chairman's position or the chairperson's position is vacant. There is no one heading the organization for now, but it is listed under Article 338 of the Constitution of India. So scheduled caste 338, scheduled tribes 338A. Okay. Now coming to a little more here, my friends. Finance Commission of India. The Finance Commission of India, you could write this. Listed under Article 280 of the Constitution of India. 280 of the Constitution of India. Next. Appointed by the President. Once every 5 years. So it's basically a 5-year term. Once every 5 years. Next. defines financial relations, defines financial relations between the center and the states, between the center and the states. So it actually talks about, what should be the revenue model if the center gets some revenue, how the revenue should be shared within the center and the states, like especially income tax, corporate tax. So, revenue sharing is there between the center and the states, GST revenue sharing, all that stuff. So this is part of the financial relationship between the center and the states. Coming to a little more here, you could write chairperson of 15th Finance Commission. Chairperson of 15th and latest Finance Commission. Nand Kishore Singh. Nand Kishore Singh. Nand Kishore Singh. Okay. Next. Okay. Auditor General of India. Comptroller and Auditor General of India is the CAG. Article 148. Listed under Article 148. Audits, you could write this. Audits the books of. So books means revenues and expenditures, especially expenditures. Audits financial books of all government ministries and departments, all central government ministries and departments, central government ministries and departments, comma, public sector units, central public sector units, and sometimes private sector companies. Okay. Yeah. The Supreme Court had asked in the past that the CAG audit the books of some power companies in Delhi. So, that's how it worked actually. Who is the current CAG of India? The CAG of India is Girish Chandra Murmu. Girish Chandra Murmu. Girish Chandra Murmu. That was a lot of discussion. As per the Niti Aayog, the National Institution for Transforming India is NITI. As per the Niti Aayog State Energy and Climate Index Round 1 report, which of the following statements are true? All of them are true. Now, what is this report about? You see there on the left, there is this extract from the report. I went to the Niti Aayog website, and there I found this report. So I went through large parts of the report. I won't say that I went through the entire report. Yes, important points I went through, and I found this particular, this table, and I took it here, okay, for our class. So what are the objectives here? Number one is the ranking of the states based on their energy efficiency, performance, and everything. So ranking the states based on their performance, on their efforts towards improving energy access, energy consumption, energy efficiency. Basically, it's to do with the energy production, transmission, and efficient use. Okay. Of course, it has to be pro-environment. So, end of the day, it's about how states have been tackling the emergency needs. It's their emergency needs. So, if you look at this, among large states, Gujarat's number one. Smaller states, Goa's at the top. But the three states of Chhattisgarh, MP, and Jharkhand are at the bottom, my friends, right at the bottom. Okay. You see words in D, there is DISCOM, distribution company. So there is a generation company, power generation company, GenCom. Then there is GenCom or GenCo. It's typically called GenCo, generation company. Then there is something called Transco, transmission company. And there is something called DISCOM. Disco won't be good, na? So Transco, Genco, and not Disco, but Discom. So Discom is distribution company. Okay. So the company that gets, the unit that gets electricity to our homes, our establishments, all these things that you see, the ACs here, the two ACs in this room, the multiple tube lights. I think there are about 17, 18 tube lights in this small room. So all these things come from, what we say, discoms. Okay. So we are moving away from fossil fuels, but India is a fossil fuel dependent country. As far as electricity is concerned, thermal power contributes about 68% of the total electricity generation in India. 68%, two-thirds of India's electricity generation comes from coal plants, thermal power plants. Okay, then hydroelectricity, and then renewable sources like wind. There is wind, there is solar, and all that. But if you look at more, there is nuclear energy, which contributes to about 3.7% of India's energy needs. Small, but in the long run it will only increase. Okay, because India is investing a lot in enhancing civil nuclear generation, energy generation for nuclear power plants. Okay. Which union ministry is implementing the PM Daksh Yojana? What is Daksh? Pradhan Mantri Dakshata or Kushalta Sampan Hitgrahi. See, the good thing about all these ministries is that they are not named after individuals. They simply said called PM Daksh, PM Kisan, like that. Now, PM could be anyone. Today it's Narendra Modi. Tomorrow it could be someone else. So, end of the thing would be running in the name of the Prime Minister. Okay, rather than in the name of an individual who might have gone, who might not be around. So Jawaharlal Nehru, Indira Gandhi, Atal Bihari Vajpayee, Rajiv Gandhi. Oh, so many schemes are there named after individuals. Yeah, if I'm not wrong, there are about 453 schemes, places, institutions, stadiums, kind of things, scholarships that are named after Jawaharlal Nehru, Indira Gandhi, and Rajiv Gandhi. Okay, so it doesn't sound good when the Congress says Narendra Modi Stadium should not be. I mean, so why should their stadium be named after Narendra Modi? It sounds very bad, no? Especially when they have so many things named after their own family members. Now, I'm not defending anyone. I'm just saying, these kinds of things should be very careful about. Don't get carried away. Okay. What about this scheme? What does it do? So I would want you to write PM Daksh, the full form, Dakshata or Kushalta Sampan Hitgrahi. Okay. Please write. Aim is to upgrade skills of youth and women belonging to scheduled castes, scheduled tribes, small s, scheduled tribes, economically backward classes, de-notified tribes, DNT it's called, and sanitation workers, Safai Karamchari. And sanitation workers. So upgrade skills of youth and women belonging to scheduled castes, scheduled tribes, economically backward communities or classes, de-notified tribes, and sanitation workers. 2. Or for self-improvement, for self-employment is better. For self-employment and enhancing means increasing employment opportunities. Employment opportunities. Employment opportunities. To increase incomes. To increase incomes. To increase incomes. Okay. Yeah. See, most Indians lack skill. When I say lack skill, I'm talking of the kind of skill that would help them get better jobs. Say, farmer has farming skills. It's not that the farmer is unskilled. No, 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 no. The farmer has farming skills. I don't have farming skills, so I'm farming illiterate. You understand that? So I am the person. I am a guy on the other side who does not have these skills, but the farmer, considering there is a large scale unemployment in the farming sector, if young people could move away from farming, and they get upgrade, upskill them, they upskill themselves, they get themselves ready through skills for industry level jobs and everything. What would happen? They get employment, and when employment is there, there is income. And income brings in income brings in a better purchasing power into the family. Higher income means higher purchasing power, and this would improve overall quality of life for the the family. So someone goes to the farming, someone goes into industry, or someone works in the services sector. Ultimately, if three different people work instead of in three different things, instead of working only on the farm small piece of land, small piece of land, limited income would be there. Okay, but if person A goes to farm, person B goes to industrial unit, and person C does something else, they are engaging in three different ways of earning money, which means they bring in money into the family, additional money if you call it. This would raise the overall quality of life. People have better nutrition, children have better access to, when I say better access, they have access to education. Now they have better access to better education. Okay, so, and healthcare is very vital. So when there is money, when there is purchasing power, things work wonderfully well. And I believe that one major way people can enhance their opportunities is education. And more than education, it's learning from education. Everybody gets the same degree. All of your classmates would get the same degree, would have had the same degree. You are BTech, BA, BA, BCom, BSc, BSc. But what could differentiate you from the others? Your skill, your learning. That is where you push yourself hard. Okay. As far as this ministries are concerned, I'll bring in a little more here now. Let's look at the choices. The last ministry is mentioned as Ministry of Social Justice and Empowerment, Dr. Virendra Kumar. Dr. Virendra Kumar. Where are we? Slightly acting up. Dr. Virendra Kumar. Okay. Food Processing Industries Ministries, Pashupati. You write this. Pashu separately, Pashupati. I found it on the Government of India website, and not one word, two separate words. Pashupati Kumar Paras. Pashupati Kumar Paras is the Union Minister of Food Processing Industries. Panchadesi, the person who holds a Panchayati Raj ministry also holds another ministry. Ministries of Panchayati Raj plus Rural Development is Giriraj Singh. Now let's clear this. Let's look at culture, Ministry of Culture. The person who holds the Ministry of Culture also holds two other ministries. Ministry of Tourism and Development of Northeast Region, Donor Ministry it's called. Development of Northeast Region. Okay. So, who is the guy who heads these three important ministries? Minister of Culture, Minister of Tourism, and the Ministry of Development of Northeastern Region. It is G. Kishan Reddy. G. Kishan Reddy. He is from my city, Secunderabad. G. Kishan Reddy. What about choice 1? Ministry of Skill Development and Entrepreneurship. Ministry of Skill Development and Entrepreneurship is headed by the same person who heads the Ministry of Education plus Ministry of Education. Okay, so two ministries are headed by Dharmendra Pradhan. Dharmendra Pradhan. Dharmendra Pradhan. Yes. Let's go. Who of the following persons was awarded the 2022 O. Henry Prize for his story Gaon Budo? Amar Mitra. It's a story that Amar Mitra had written in the late 1970s. Now this story, I haven't read the story, and this is a story, of an old person who's had a miserable life, who's looking up to the heavens to help him live a better life. That's the excerpt I wrote. Okay, an extract. So O. Henry, who was O. Henry? One of the finest writers of the short story, and I have, I think, two major collections of short stories. One is Kings and Cabbages. What is it? Kings and Cabbages. Kings and Cabbages. Yeah, the name is weird. So you write just one. Kings and Cabbages. Who was this guy? This was his pen name. O. Henry was his pen name. His actual name was William Sidney Potter or Potter. William Sidney Potter. Okay, I suggest you read O. Henry. Look it up. It will be fun. Typical short stories, and they have a very surprise ending. They end like in the last two lines in a very different way from what you would normally think. They are all funny. Yeah, they rarely are sad. Yeah. So read a little about this guy. Okay, or read at least his stories. O stands for Olivier. You don't require that. Which multilateral lending institution slashed its financial year 23 growth forecast for India to 8% from the earlier 8.7%? See, the RBI, this is for the financial year. Financial year, in this, the case of the World Bank, is a calendar year. They normally take as 22 entire calendar year. Okay, this is calendar year, January to December. Okay, so January to December kind of thing. The calendar year is also the financial year. Now coming to something more here. So the financial for FY23, it's likely to grow at 8%. They say earlier it was 8.7% because of now there are a lot of things that are influencing growth. One is the Ukraine conflict. Yeah, the Ukraine conflict, and then there is the slowdown in China. Yeah, then we have the increase in interest rates in America. Increase in interest rates in America, US interest rates. So a lot of things are happening, and because of which oil prices are rising. There is inflation and everything. Okay, so let's go a little past this and look at RBI. The RBI had said that in the financial year 23, that is starting on April 1st of 2022 and ending on 31st of March of 2023, so it's a 12-month financial period, growth is likely to be around 7.2%. Whereas here financial year is January to December, so the numbers would vary. Okay guys, In the past, I had mentioned a lot about these organizations, so I'm not going to repeat, but maybe a little about this. Yeah, you know the name of the person who heads the World Bank, David Malpass, is the president. Okay, David Malpass is the president, but I want you to write the name of the person who, an Indian named Anshula Kant. Anshula Kant is the CFO, Chief Financial Officer and Managing Director of the World Bank. Chief Financial Officer and Managing Director of the World Bank. Okay. So from there, we could write more. Asian Development Bank President is Masatsugu Asakawa. Masatsugu Asakawa. Asakawa. AIIB is the Asian Infrastructure Investment Bank. Asian Infrastructure Investment Bank is headed by Jin Lekan. International Monetary Fund headed by Kristalina Georgieva. Kristalina Georgieva, and while she is the MD, the first deputy managing director is Geeta Gopinath. Geeta Gopinath. Okay, the World Economic Forum is headed by its founder chairperson Klaus Schwab. It's not a learning institute, it's a discussion forum actually. Okay, yeah. Apple recently started making the iPhone 13 in India. The iPhone is being produced. This phone is being produced by Apple's contract manufacturer Foxconn at a factory in the town of Sri Perumbudur in Tamil Nadu. Foxconn is based in Taiwan. Sri Perumbudur became world famous because at this rally in 1999, on 21st May 1991, Rajiv Gandhi was killed. Former Prime Minister Rajiv Gandhi was assassinated in this place on 21st May 1991. Okay, so that is one. And second thing, there is racetrack at Sri Perumbudur. Do you know that? There is actually, if I'm not wrong, a kind of Formula 1, not exactly Formula 1, but Formula 3 racetrack and all that. Now, little more about these companies and all. See, there is this company called Foxconn. I want you to know this, that this is the company that makes a lot of devices. Foxconn's original name is Hon Hai Precision. Hon Hai Precision. Okay. Now, guys, Hon Hai Precision is headquartered in New Taipei, which is the Taipei city is the capital of Taiwan. It was founded by a person called Terry Gou. Terry Gou. Terry Gou founded this company, and Foxconn today is the world's largest contract manufacturer of electronic devices. World's largest contract manufacturer, you could write this, world's largest contract manufacturer of electronic devices. What does it do? See, it does not own any brand, but it produces phones for a lot of companies, like all Apple devices, iPhone, iPad, iPod, all are made by this company. It makes your Xiaomi devices, Xiaomi. All Xiaomi devices are made by this company. All Microsoft devices, almost all, in fact, especially the Xbox, Microsoft Xbox gaming console is made by this company. You see, it makes a lot of, what we say, Samsung products also. It makes the Nintendo Wii gaming console. Nintendo Wii, it's pronounced Wii. Okay, gaming console. So these kinds of things is what Foxconn manufactures. All these Google Pixel devices, Google phones and all, they are produced by Foxconn. Yes, it's the fourth biggest technology company in the world by revenue. Fourth biggest technology company by revenue. So the four largest technology companies, by the way, just before that, this is a founder, okay? He was a chairperson till recently. Now the new chairperson is Young Liu. He's not young, but his name is Young. Yeah? Young Liu. Liu. Young Liu. Is the new chairperson of Honhai. Now, what are the four biggest companies in the world? 4 or 5 shall we write? 5 we can write. 5 biggest tech companies. Top 5 biggest tech companies by revenue. Top 5 tech companies by revenue. The biggest is Apple. How big is it? $274 billion revenue. It is 12 times bigger than 11 and a half times bigger than TCS. Okay, yeah. Number 2, Samsung Electronics. Samsung Electronics. These numbers are for last year and I am sharing this only for knowledge. You don't have to remember anything. Okay, awareness is what I want. Number 3, third rank is Alphabet, the parent company of Google. Alphabet, $182 billion. So I write here in billion dollars. Number 4, Foxconn, $181 billion. Okay, chalo. 5, Microsoft, $143 billion. Okay, so I just wanted to share with you these things because they kind of help you get an idea. Next time you are on Google, अरे यार Google the बहुत बड़ी company. Google is a huge company. Yeah, so that kind of idea is important. About 7 times bigger. TCS ka revenue, you remember TCS revenue $23 billion, and then you would add this 23. Apple is oh my God, 11, more than 11 times bigger. Remember like that. You don't have to remember all the numbers because these numbers will change this year. They may go up or down, depending on their business, business this year. So this is where Apple is headquartered. This is Apple's headquarters. Apple. Seoul is Samsung. Seoul is Samsung. Helsinki, next to, outside Helsinki, there is a small town called Espoo, that is where Nokia is headquartered. Okay? Just outside Helsinki, the capital of Finland, there is a small town called Espoo. You can say it's an extended suburb of Helsinki. So you have Nokia there. Tokyo, Sony Corporation. Sony phones and all. Yes. I love discussing companies. Yeah. Which of the following organizations issues a registration number and conducts a certification test for all mutual funds, sellers, marketers, before canvassing for investments in mutual funds? This one. The Association, take the full form, Association of Mutual Funds of India. Association of Mutual Funds of India. Association of Mutual Funds of India. Okay? Yeah. Association of Mutual Funds of India. So then we have Association of Mutual Funds of India. Who is the chairperson of this? You could write this. N.S. Venkatesh. N.S. Venkatesh. N.S. Venkatesh. There are about 43 mutual fund companies in India, my friends. What mutual funds do? You see, if you buy shares of a company, let's say Reliance Industries, you have 1 lakh rupees, you buy Reliance shares. Okay? So there is a lot of risk associated with this investment. If the company's price tanks, goes down, there is a danger of risk, a loss, a risk of a loss, suffering a loss. But if you put this in a mutual fund, what you do is, a mutual fund, you buy mutual fund units. It's like a what they do is they put your 1 lakh into large number of units. So they take 1 lakh from 1 lakh from you, 5,000 from me, 10,000 from your friend, yeah, like that. So there are crores of investors like this, lakhs of investors. So the money is collected and put this across a range of companies. So if there is a loss in the from one company, the loss can be compensated with profits from other investments. That's how it works. So the risk is spread. You don't put all your eggs in one basket. You're correct? Yes, that's how mutual funds work. So who is the new chairperson of SEBI, Securities and Exchange Board of India? Madhabi Puri Bush or Butch. Madhabi Puri Butch. This is NS Venkatesh, I told you. NS Venkatesh. Bombay Stock Exchange, headed by Ashish Kumar Chauhan. Ashish Kumar Chauhan. National Stock Exchange, Vikram Limaye. Vikram Limaye. Dishonoring of checks due to insufficient funds is illegal and considered a criminal offense. It is. So if I issue a check and I don't have money in my account, and the check definitely when you present it, it will bounce. Yeah, it will bounce. Okay. So that what would happen is you could file a case against me under Section 138 of the Negotiable Instruments Act. Under Section 138 of the Negotiable Instruments Act, dishonoring of checks is a criminal offense. You could put me in jail. Yes. Of course, this is a bailable warrant. I could always take bail. Yeah, but it's a criminal offense. Okay. So, not much to discuss. The interest rate at which RBI lends money to banks for a short term to maintain liquidity is known as repo rate. It's known as repo rate. We discussed this in the previous class, I think, yeah, or the class before that. What is repo rate? What is bank rate? What we looked at reverse repo rate and everything. So, base rate is nowadays it's simply called base rate. Earlier it was called prime lending rate, below which this is the interest rate below which banks cannot lend you money at. So this earlier was previously called prime lending rate, PLR. So the base rate below which banks cannot lend it. That's it. Okay. So if the PLR is 5%, it means that banks cannot charge me an interest rate of 4.8%. They have to charge a minimum of 5%. That is base rate now. Okay. So we'll not spend time on what we learned just 2 classes back. Which of the following became the first country to successfully shoot down drones with the iron beam laser interceptors? Israel. एक काम करते हैं. See, sometime last year or maybe much before that actually, I discussed Israel-Palestine. In my next class, I'll bring in the conflict between Israel and Palestine, and I'll spend about 15 to 20 minutes with you in bringing to you this entire crisis. Okay, what is the conflict between Israel and Palestine about? What exactly are they fighting for? So what is at stake is what I will focus on. Trust me, it's a it's a kind of discussion that would that would help you know and understand the world much better. Fair? For now, yes, we'll focus on this question. What is laser? Laser is, the full form of laser is light amplification. Light amplification, difficult words. Amplification by stimulated emission of radiation. Stimulated emission of radiation. See, what happens is this is a coherent, this is also called a coherent beam of light. Coherent means straight beam of light. Light particles don't go here and there. and light has intense heat, my friends. And when they are concentrated, all these, the entire beam, coherent beam of light. So what happens is that this, and a laser, is a coherent beam. It is, light that kills the interceptor. So there is a rocket that is launched from somewhere. Okay, this is a rocket, and there is a laser beam that is fired from here, that is shot from here. It will straight hit this and explode it. So there is no weapon here. It's a laser beam that destroys this particular what we say, missile, or it could be an unmanned aerial vehicle like a drone. Yeah, it could be anything. So it is highly advanced technology. It is a kind of thing that, in fact, almost except for 2-3 countries in the world, no one has this. Okay, but Israel has become the first one to intercept drones and destroy them in public trials. So I would want you to write what exactly is this about. You could write this: iron beam laser interceptor dash world's first energy based weapons system that uses a laser to shoot down incoming I'll write here, unmanned aerial vehicle, UAV, also called drone. Okay, the H is silent, my friends. It's vehicle. How do you pronounce vehicle? Unmanned aerial vehicle. Okay, yeah. So I guess this is fine. To destroy incoming unmanned aerial vehicle, rockets and mortars, 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 bombs, mortars, at a cost of just, how much does it cost to fire one beam? Just $3.5 per shot. Yeah, $3.5 per shot. So normally when missile interceptors are launched, they cost a lot of money, sometimes thousands of dollars. But here it is just $3.5. It's the cheapest shot, taking a shot at destroying enemy mortars, UAVs in a seriously inexpensive way. Yeah, I think this is enough. Israel and all that we've been discussing. So, but anyway, I'll bring this back in the next class. To which of the following UN Economic and Social Council bodies did India recently get elected? All of them. But I want you to write this. Right. ECOSOC. UN ECOSOC. United Nations Economic and Social Council. United Nations Economic and Social Council. Okay, Economic and Social Councils. Underline that. One of 6 principal organs of the UN. One of 6 principal organs of the UN. What are the 6 principal organs of the UN? General Assembly, Security Council. Yeah, let's bring in ECOSOC, Trusteeship Council, Trusteeship Council, the International Court of Justice, and Secretariat, the Office of the Secretary General. So 6, what are they? General Assembly, Security Council, ECOSOC, Economic and Social Council, Trusteeship Council, International Court of Justice, and the Secretariat. Okay, 6 organs. All except one are headquartered in New York. This one is headquartered in Hague. You know this, na? Previous class, I think we took these notes. So next, head office, you know now. You can write this. 54 members. 54 members. And it's headed by Colin. I'm sorry, guys. Colin Kelapile of Botswana. This is a country in southern Africa, just above South Africa. You will find this. So it's in southern Africa, Botswana. Okay. Yeah. Enough here. The boy who wrote the Constitution is authored by Rajesh Talwar. You know what? What is the actual title of this book? The Boy Who Wrote the Constitution, okay, a play for children on human rights. A play, for children. A play for children on human rights. A play for children on human rights. Okay. So Baba Sahib, this is a book about Baba Sahib Bhimrao Ambedkar. Bhimrao Ramji, B for Bhimrao, R for Ramji Ambedkar. Bhimrao was his actual first name, Ramji, Papa's name, Ambedkar, surname, but the actual surname was Ambewad, and Ambewad was the name also of his village. So he came from this Ambewad, but his teacher changed it to Ambed, and that's how he became Ambedkar. A person belonging to the village of Ambed is Ambedkar. Okay, typical Marathi. And some books by these great, persons here. Kiran Bedi, India's first woman IPS officer, and she's author of books like I Dare. This is her autobiography, a collection. It's actually a memoir, collection of memories. Shashi Tharoor. Oh, plenty of books. I think I have all of his books, almost all of his books. But I want you to write this book's name. And Era of Darkness. This is on the British rule in India. An Era of Darkness. Rajni Bakshi, author of Bazaars. What is that? Yeah, Conversation of Freedoms. Bazaars, Conversations, Conservations and Conversations, slightly different. Only S and V have to change places. Conversations and Freedom. That's one title. Abhijit Banerjee, the 2019 Nobel Economics Laureate. One book I can talk about is Good Economics for Hard Times. Good Economics for Hard Times. He wrote this with his wife and fellow Nobel laureate Esther Duflo. Esther Duflo. Good Economics for Hard Times. They, along with another guy called Michael Kramer, three of them won the Nobel Prize for their experimental approach to to mitigating, that is decreasing poverty. You know, these two, the wife and husband, became the sixth couple to win the Nobel Prize. Sixth couple. There have been five instances where couples have won the Nobel Prize, or at least husband and wife separately. They might have won in different years, but they have won. Okay, here the sixth instance where husband and the wife have won Nobel Prize. Which country recently urged its overseas citizens to send money home to help the country pay desperately needed food and all this stuff. I think Sri Lanka is going through a seriously bad crisis. The last two classes we discussed Sri Lanka, I guess. I discussed it quite elaborately as to what is happening in Sri Lanka. So let's not spend time on what we discussed in the last two classes. Okay. And a similar crisis is happening in Pakistan. Pakistan and Sri Lanka are in really bad place. They are in a bad, when you say in a bad place, he is in a bad place, it means the person is not doing well. Okay. So both Sri Lanka and Pakistan are in a very bad place, my friends. And to a large extent, this is because of not just government's bad decisions, but also because of indiscriminate borrowings they made from foreign sources, especially China. Okay. To repeat, who is the new Prime Minister of Pakistan? Shehbaz Sharif. Coming to Sri Lanka, the president is Gotabaya Rajapaksa. The Prime Minister of Thailand, in the past we have taken the name of the king there, but Prime Minister is Prayut Chan-o-cha. CHAN-O-CHA. You can say Pradyut also, both are fine. Indonesia, Joko Widodo. Maldives, Ibrahim Muhammad Soleh. Who among the following persons is recipient of the Malcolm Adisesha Award for 2022? The Marxist historian Prabhat Patnaik. This guy is a hardcore Marxist, leftist, communist historian, okay? Economist actually. And not historian, economist. Prabhat Patnaik received this award this year, and for this year, Malcolm Adisesha, who was he? He was also a development economist. He passed away in 1994. Okay, he worked abroad across the world. In fact, he worked for the UN. He worked for UNICEF. Yeah, plenty of organizations actually. So I would want you to write one particular thing. Malcolm Adisesha dash development economist. I mentioned UNICEF. No, not UNICEF. He worked for UNICEF, UNESCO. In fact, the UNESCO set up a prize also. It's called the Malcolm Adisesha International Literary Prize. Literary Prize, yes. Malcolm Adisesha International Literary Prize. That is for his contribution to education. Yeah. So he did his PhD at London School of Economics. Yes. Okay. People work very hard. With which nation has India recently partnered to establish a new education group to further strengthen cooperation in the field of education and skill development? United States, hardly anything to discuss. United States, you see the flag of US. You find here 50 stars like this. Okay, 50 stars, and there are lines like this. There are 13 stripes. So 50 stars related to the 50 states of America, the current number of states, and 13 stripes are the 13 original colonies at the time of its independence. 13 original colonies in 1776. Colonies today called states. So 13 states were there at the time of America's independence in 1776. But today there are 50. That's why there are 50 stars. Okay, that's how that's why it's called stars and stripes flag. Okay, the German chancellor is a guy called Olaf Scholz. Olaf Scholz or Scholz. Canada's prime minister is Justin Trudeau. Australia's prime minister is Scott Morrison. New Zealand's prime minister is Jacinda Ardern. Who won the EY? EY is this consulting tax advisory company called Ernst and Young, one of the big four in the world. Okay, PricewaterhouseCoopers, Deloitte, KPMG are the other three. Who won the Ernst and Young Entrepreneur of the Year award for 2021? Falguni Nair. She is the CEO of Nykaa. Okay. Vamsi Krishna, Vedantu. Gaurav Munjal, an academy. Kunal Shah, Cred. Arvind Sanka, Rapido. Rapido. Identify the correct pair of winners of the Ernst & Young Entrepreneur of the Year 2021. Okay, plenty of awards here. Lifetime Achievement Award, Anil Manibhai Naik. Anil Manibhai Naik was for a long time the CEO of Lawrence and Toubro. Larsen and Toubro. You know Larsen and Toubro? I'm so sorry, that was a goof up. Larsen and Toubro, L&T. He was a chairperson and CEO for a long time. Currently, he is a chairman emeritus. It's a soup, it's on paper, it's a titular role. So, Larsen and Toubro, chairperson, you could write. Vidit Atre and Sanjeev Banwal started a company called, I somewhere remember it as, there is this company that, Meesho, but, it's officially called, something else. We know it as Meesho. It's called Fastnier. Fastnier Technology. Fastnier Technology. Yeah. That's the company's name. Sahil Barua. You know this logistics company called Delivery? Yes, Delivery. This is the spelling. Okay. Girish Matrubhutam. If I'm not wrong, it is Freshworks. Freshworks. Harshil Mathur and Sashank Kumar. Razorpay. Yeah. Which multilateral lending institution? I think it's a repeat. Just let's ignore it. No issue. Pradhan Mantri Sangrahalaya, a museum dedicated to all the prime ministers of the country since independence, was recently opened in New Delhi. Okay, I think there's hardly anything to discuss here. Ahmedabad, you could write Physical Research Laboratory. Physical Research Laboratory. Okay. Kolkata Botanical Survey of India. Botanical Survey of India. Hyderabad National Institute of Nutrition. Enough. Whom the following cricketers have scored 10,000 runs in T20 cricket? All of them. But there is one more. Chris Gayle, Shoaib Malik. Chris Gayle was the first. He is also the fastest. Okay? First. Universe boss is called. Chris Gayle, Shoaib Malik of Pakistan. Okay? These are West Indian players. West Indies, Pakistan, Australia, of course, these two India. Now, there is one more called David Warner. There are 7 players who have scored more than 10,000 runs in, T20 cricket. Okay, David Warner. That was it. Thank you for being here. This was the short discussion, and as told in the beginning, this was going to be a short discussion. But in the next session, I'm going to bring in Israel and Palestine. Okay, please watch that. It will be a lot, pretty informative session. It's going to be, and I hope you use some of the methods that I shared with you to learn to become better. Have a lot of fun. Thanks from me, Bharat Jain, and everyone else in the Time team. Thank you for being here. Thank you so much.